So the government is well on its way, working with other countries, to have advanced designs working by 2030. And then once you have them, how quickly can you roll them out? Ah, you're thinking of the old way. If I told you in 2030 we'll have these really good, safe, small, economical nuclear plants, you're probably going to say to me, if you're a climate alarmist, I'm not sure I love that term, but let's say you believe that the climate is a big problem. You might say to yourself, too late, Scott, it's too late. It takes so long to approve and build a nuclear plant that if we don't start building these safe ones in 2030, it's already too late. Well, no, it isn't, because you're thinking of the old way. Here's something interesting you didn't know about. There's an Office of Nuclear Energy in the government. Did you even know that? I didn't. I knew there was a Department of Energy, and I knew that they were doing some pro-nuclear stuff, Rick Perry's group, but I didn't know there was an Office of Nuclear Energy. I found out yesterday when Mark Schneider, who's our famous nuclear energy advocate, and Mark Schneider said that they started following him, which is great because he's one of the most effective advocates for nuclear energy. So they should follow him. So I followed him too, just to see what they're about. And man, that was a good follow. I'll tell you what they are. They're at Gov Nuclear, G-O-V Nuclear, at Gov Nuclear on Twitter. And worth following if you want to follow, if you're interested in climate or energy or nuclear energy or any of that, it's a good follow. They don't have many followers yet. So they tweeted, they tweeted this: "Are you ready? There are 3 advanced reactor systems, meaning 3 different new technologies for nuclear power, could be coming as soon as 2030 and are expected to be safe, cheap, etc." So there's an international consortium that we are part of, we being the United States, and the Office of Nuclear Energy is talking about it, and they're Generation 4, Gen 4, stuff that won't melt down, and we know how to make them less expensive. It's easy to make nuclear less expensive. If you don't know that, you're not paying attention. A lot of people say, nuclear is too expensive. Well, the old way is. The old way is really expensive. The way we know how to do it in the future is the way you make anything less expensive. You standardize it, you build them in factories, you agree on one design, so everybody knows how to make that one design, and you test it until your one design is pretty solid, and then you reproduce it. So it's mass production, it's factory built, it's making them smaller. In some cases, you get some economies that way because you can ship stuff on trucks, etc. Build them in a factory, ship it on a truck, assemble it. So because economics is such a mature science, I guess, if you want to call it a science, it's not a science, but it's a mature field. We know exactly how to make a nuclear power plant less expensive. We just make it smaller, standardize, test it, make sure that anybody who knows how to work at one sort of automatically knows how to work at another because it's the same technology. So the government is well on its way, working with other countries, to have advanced designs working by 2030. And then once you have them, how quickly can you roll them out? Ah, you're thinking of the old way. If I told you in 2030 we'll have these really good, safe, small, economical nuclear plants, you're probably going to say to me, if you're a climate alarmist, I'm not sure I love that term, but let's say you believe that the climate is a big problem, you might say to yourself, too late, Scott, it's too late. It takes so long to approve and build a nuclear plant that if we don't start building these safe ones in 2030, it's already too late. Well, no, it isn't, because you're thinking of the old way. The old way of getting something approved and built was way too slow and too expensive. It had two things not working for it. By 2030, if we're serious about this and if we still care about the planet, and let's say worst case scenario, sea level has risen similar to the predictions, could happen. It might happen on its own, not for human warming, but maybe it just happens. Then people are more panicked. So it's the panic I'm talking about, not the truth of climate science. In 2030, we're likely to have a little warmer planet, and people are going to say, whoa, let's do this. I didn't know you could make these small and cheap and safe. As soon as the public understands that small, cheap, and safe has been accomplished and looks very doable, there's some engineering, testing, iterating challenges, but they're all within the realm of just engineering. We don't have to. You don't need Einstein to invent something new. You just need to engineer it and test it and iterate until it's working just the way you want, for the most part. In all likelihood, we could roll them out pretty quickly once they're safe, because that's the trouble, right? Nobody wants one near them if it's going to potentially, even in their mind, be unsafe. Now, you should know that the current generation that we could build today is already the safest power that we have. The things that have had problems in the past were earlier generations, which were less safe for reasons we understand really well. So the current newest generation of nuclear has never had a major event.